Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you. Thank you for coming. It's great to see those familiar faces and those new people as well. This webinar is being brought to you today by MCSC Women's Business Center. We are a nonprofit business center serving entrepreneurs in SLO, Kern, and now Monterey County. Whoops. So we offer small business, no-cost, one-on-one business consulting with professionals in finance, marketing, e-commerce, and management. Our contact information is on the screen and it is also in the chat box. I would like to thank Stacy Aragon for presenting today. Stacy has a BS in Business Administration with a concentration in entrepreneurship from Cal Poly. She's passionate about helping entrepreneurs who have the heart and perseverance to pursue their dreams. Stacy has knowledge in all aspects of business, from strategic planning, marketing, finance, HR, organizational behavior, and organizational development. We're thrilled she's here. She is a consultant with us, so if you want to speak to her, you can always give me a call and we can connect you up. She's generated some worksheets for you. They were emailed to you this morning. If you didn't get a chance to look at those, you will see those in the chat box as well. So before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items for you. Please limit your distractions, put your puppies outside, turn your phones off. We'll be taking questions in the chat box, and she does have time for questions. We may take a small 5-minute break. And this webinar is being recorded, so you'll get a link once it's processed with the recording. So we have a quick poll just to find out how you heard about this. So let me go ahead and launch that poll. It takes about 30 seconds. So go ahead and take that quick poll, please. All righty, thank you so much. It looks like 76% of you saw it in the newsletter and the rest of you were word of mouth. So thank you so much for that. All right, so with no further ado, I give you to Stacy. Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Wednesday afternoon. I'm so excited to share about Canva with you. As Barb said, my name is Stacy Aragon. I've been a WBC consultant for a little over a year. I've also worked with the WBC for 4 years in different capacities. I have extensive experience in Canva. I've been working on it since I've been with the WBC. So I have experience in Canva and Constant Contact and a lot of other areas as well. Thank you, Barb, for the wonderful and extensive background information on me. I don't even have to cover that now. But as she said, I did graduate from Cal Poly with a degree in entrepreneurship. So I am super excited to work one-on-one with each of you when you have questions about your business, or maybe it's Canva or Constant Contact. I am happy to schedule an appointment. So please reach out to either me directly or Barb as well. Just a quick overview on the layout of this presentation. It is a 2-hour webinar, which is a little more extensive than the normal. So if you can't stay for the duration, that's okay. As Barb said, we have it recorded and we can send that to you as well. We will be covering brief guidelines and tips for how to brand your business effectively. We're also going to navigate within the Canva within the Canva website. So you should have a Canva account by now. And the way that this webinar is set up is it's mainly visual and audio learning. But if you do have the capacity to watch and create and follow along, I would highly recommend that for the demo flyer portion of this webinar. And then to wrap it up, we will be overviewing 7 helpful tips on Canva. Okay, so just very quickly, some branding tips that I've learned along the way is being transparent and starting with the heart of your business and being all encompassing with the values and your mission of your business. It creates trust and brand loyalty. Like we mentioned, it takes about 10 seconds for a consumer to size up your business based on a logo, based on printed material, or even your website, Facebook posts, any of that. So we want to be very intentional with what we're communicating through our brand and what we're communicating to our customers. So like I said, being clear and consistent, and remembering that your business is rarely what you say it is, and it's more of what other people say it is. So we want to be conscientious of that. We also want to be aware that there's a lot of psychology between fonts and emotions and feelings, and also colors, the colors that you use, the elements, all of those aspects of your branding, whether it's your actual logo or its print material. These are all communicating and developing experiences for your consumer. So just to recap, with all of that said, start your business with your heart and be transparent. Be all encompassing with your values. Keep it simple, or as I think it was L'Oreal says, simply clear. I might have gotten that wrong, but keep it simply clear. You want to highlight your uniqueness of your brand to your customers clearly, but you also want to have an emotion, have your customer feel a specific emotion to really capitalize on the full experience of doing business with you. So keep it clear, but also highlight your uniqueness. And then be consistent. Be consistent across all platforms on your social media, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, all of your accounts. You want to be consistent with the verbiage that you're using, with the font styles, the font sizes, the colors, the other elements, the imagery. You want to be consistent because we want to create brand loyalty. And by being consistent, we're telling our customer, you can count on us to be this way and to act within alignment with your values and your mission and your vision. I have 4 other tips for you when you are promoting on social media. It's called the 4-element framework for social media. First being, what you want to do is you want to get your consumer, your customer, your client, you want to get them excited. So you yourself have to be pumped. You have to be pumped about your business. You got to get people to be pumped by your business. You really want to share the energy and the passion that you have with your business. So get pumped, get your customers pumped, and the best way to do that is to utilize your customer relationship management, meaning keep the data on your customer, know who they are, know what their interests are, and use that to your advantage. Use that as a strategy to reel them in when they see your post on Facebook or they see an ad on Google. You want to engage them, and the best way to do that is to really know your customer. So 1 was excitement, create excitement. 2 is to educate on your offer. Drive customers from the filter or what they call the social media funnel onto your website. That is very important. Make it easy for them to enter your website through these portals, and also create a clear call to action. And always have that, and be creative. 3 is create the experience for your customer. Make a virtual experience. If you're marketing on social media or with your website, you can make a virtual experience for them through imagery and through what you choose to use for your campaign. It's very, very important, because when you evoke emotion and you create that attention-grabbing feeling, you drive an action, whether that's to go to your website and buy your products or visit the website and sign up for a consultation. 4 is engagement. engage in active listening. So I'm not just talking about likes, let's get likes, but we want to get customer feedback. And the importance of customer feedback are very clear. It shows your customer that you're listening and that you care. You genuinely care about their opinion, about what conveniences them, and what they desire. And when they hear that and feel like they're collaborative within your brand, they will become loyal customers. So take your customer feedback and implement it as much as possible. Okay. So if you are still unclear about your mission and your brand, I did send out some, actually Barb sent out some handouts for you. There is a branding worksheet to help you clarify the feelings of your business, the emotions that you want your customers to feel, the mission, the values. It's all outlined there in the handout. And I think it would be very helpful to utilize that exercise. Obviously, it will change as your business grows, and that's okay. But if you have your idea, your mission, your vision, and you continually write that down and repeat it, it will come like second nature to you. So you'll be able to be transparent and consistent, and you won't have a problem creating a strong brand awareness. So now I am going to take you onto the Canva website. By now you should have an account ready. We're gonna go through the navigation of the website. And before I do, a couple of disclaimers. This is my first webinar, so I appreciate your patience with me. I also have my notes out here. I have them printed, so I may be looking down. The biggest disclaimer I want to say is that I have a puppy, and he may or may not make sound during this demonstration. So if he does, his name is Charlie, and you can send your love towards him. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you and log on to Canva now. Okay, and I'm hopeful that everybody can see this. I'm on the sign-in sheet, or not sign-in sheet, log-in page for Canva. I'm actually gonna use the account that I use for my son, so that's why it does not have my name on it. Here we go. So we are in Canva, and before I get started, I need to adjust these windows so I can see what I'm doing. Here we go. Just real quickly, we're going over navigation, then we'll do the flyer demo. If you have questions, Barb is handling the chat box, and she will notify me so that I'm clear and your questions get answered. Okay, so this is the Canva homepage. On the right-hand side, you'll see an icon. You should see your initials or your username here. If you click on the icon, you can see the drop-down. You can manage your account settings. You can refer a friend. You can get help. You can sign out. And then these are options to switch teams. So we'll talk about teams a little bit later. We are going to start on the left side. There's a navigation bar over on the left side. We're gonna make our way down, and then we're gonna go over and across. So we're on the Canva homepage. And what we can see here is that you can search templates for any kind of document that you want to make, whether that's a presentation, whether that's your flyer or an invite or a promotion, whatever you want, you can search in this bar. If you scroll down, you'll see create a design. You can also search by category. So we have social media, events, marketing, documents, etc. And if you scroll down further, It'll show you recommended designs for you and recent designs that you've been working on, and so on and so forth. You can go all the way down to the page, but we're not going to do that. We will move down to all your designs. So if you click on all your designs in that navigation bar to the left, you'll see your designs right here. And if we keep going, recent designs will also pop up there. You have a brand kit that you can use. Unfortunately, with the Canva Basic, you are very limited to how many brand logos you can upload and how many colors that you save in the Canva database, as well as the fonts. So if I wanted to add a different color palette, I would have to sign up for Canva Pro. And it's actually decently priced. And we'll talk about some of the benefits later on or as we go. So that's the brand kit. It's very helpful when you're designing and you're in design because it saves the codes to each of these colors and it saves the fonts that you want to use for your heading or your subheading. So it makes it really convenient and easy. Next on the navigation bar, we have all your folders. So with the Canva Basic, you are able to make 2 folders. I have 2 folders here. If I wanted to make any more, obviously I have to upgrade, but the folders are really helpful. When Canva first started out, they didn't have that option. So you could have been a designer for a year and wanted to see some of your earlier designs and it'd just be really hard and unorganized to find them. So the folders are actually very convenient and helpful. And then you have your folders, but you also have shared with you folders, which is also nice. So people can share with you their designs and you can design with the templates they have and whatever they share with you. Moving down, there's the trash. So this is everything that I recently put in my trash to delete it permanently or even to delete it in general. You would click on the More button. So the More button you'll see as you're designing as well. It has 3 dots next to it, but we click on that and then we see permanently delete, and we can do that there. Delete forever. It's permanent, guys. All right. Moving forward, we have a team. So if you want to build a team and you want to collaborate with people, Canva has made it easy to do that. So this particular tab is the Designs tab that I have shared with my group. You can also go through the folders and see the folders that you share with your group as well. To create a team, you can go to People, and it makes it easy to share and design folders. But as you can see, all you would have to do is enter the email address and then assign either member or administrator. Okay, and then last but not least, creating groups. Okay, so we're moving on. The last 2 items on our navigation to the left are the folders that you have created. And there you go, folder 1 and folder 2 for me. You can also upgrade right here at the click of a button. That's also very convenient for us, but we're not gonna do that right now. So I'll go back to my home page. And then we're gonna start on the top at this toolbar and go across to the right, make our way to the right. As you can see, here is another way under templates. The drop-down is open, and this is just another way to access a template to use to create whatever it is you want to create. So they have it categorized again, which makes it easy to search. We have social media, personal, business, marketing, etc. Next, we have the Discover tab, and the drop down is open and visible, so you can see the photos, icons, the apps, and the features. All of these are accessible through your design template. So as you're designing, you will have access to the free photos, the backgrounds, you will have access to the icons and the apps and the features, and I will show you that along the way. Canva also has this ability to print your products if you would like to do business with them that way. Otherwise, you could use a third party but designed in Canva, depending on their pricing. Okay. So the next tab is a very important tab. It's one of my favorites. It's the Learn tab. This is like a portal to their design school. You have courses and tutorials on how to get familiarized with Canva and how to use their tools. So if that's the case, and they also have blogs as well. So if that's the case, why are we doing this webinar? Well, you know what? Some things are missed, and some tools and features that Canva has, I have found I couldn't learn just utilizing their school. So therefore, here I am to help you answer those questions, because sometimes it's not as straightforward as we would hope. Second, it's just fun to learn with other people and with that accountability factor. So here I am to keep you accountable. All right, one more thing I want to emphasize in the Learn tab. If you go ahead and click here, or I will click here if you are not following along. And we scroll, we're on the Learn tab, the Design School, and we can scroll and see all the courses and tutorials and the completion of tutorials on here. Everything's here. But what I want to draw your attention to is going all the way to the bottom. There's this resource area where they have font combinations, and then they also have a palette generator. And these two resources are very helpful when you're trying to create and evoke a certain emotion or feeling or experience with your brand. So you can use the font combinations to help you. Let's say you picked out a font that you like, but you don't know which one it matches with. That's there for you. And it'll generate those combinations for you. With the palette generator, we're going to use that in our flyer as we're doing the demo. Basically what that is you can take a photo that you want to implement in your flyer, and then upload it to the palette generator. And what happens is they will upload a color palette for you. So you can match the colors to the picture and everything's in sync. Okay. Back up to the top, our last option here is pricing. And obviously, if you click on that, it'll show you the different plans and the different features to the plans. One thing I would say about Canva Pro is that if you decide to do their trial, make sure you have a list of goals of what you want to accomplish and what aspects of Canva Pro you want to utilize, because if you don't end up being a long-term member, you could still download, for example, if you created your brand on Canva Pro and you downloaded it to your computer, that'll still be yours. So before you try or do your trial with Canva Pro, have some goals. All right, we're gonna move forward. Onto the right, we have log in and sign up. And that's about it as far as navigating through here. So now we're gonna go through the flyer step-by-step demo. And this will be the bulk of the presentation. Like I said earlier, unfortunately, it's only set up for visual and audio learning, so I will be doing the navigating and creating. If you have the ability and capacity to actually watch and create with us, I would highly recommend it. Otherwise, we will send you a step-by-step, or you should have already gotten that step-by-step guide on how to create. So I'm back here on my home page, and I'm gonna go to all my designs because I kind of prepped the document. And I'm gonna click on the Zoom demo. And as you can see, as you start clicking around in Canva, they open up tabs, and I actually try to close them all so that I have enough space and my internet is faster. So I like to make sure that I only have one Canva browser open or tab. So now we're open, we're on a blank template. As I said before, you have your flyer templates. They have templates for you by the dozen, and they are easily categorized. You can even search here on the template search bar, whatever you're looking for. and it'll pop up. These templates are all customizable. So maybe you don't like the picture. Well, you can change the picture, you can change the font, you can change the colors. So then why exactly are we doing it from scratch? Well, I want you to get comfortable with all the elements, and I'm hopeful that I chose a flyer of inspiration that gives us all of the elements to go through together. Plus, sometimes they don't have the flyers that I want to use. Some of them are more complex and you have to figure out how to overcome those limitations. But before we get into that, I will go through with you navigating within your document. So on the left, all the way to the left, you have another navigation toolbar. And that first tab right there is templates. We've already looked at that, so we'll go down. We have upload. So here you can upload an image or a video from your desktop that you want to implement in your flyer. And then below that are photos. So these are photos that Canva offers for free. And, you know, actually the nicer photos are Canva Pro feature. So you'll see the little Pro icon right here, and that will tell you you can use it, but it's not for free, and you'll have to pay before you download your print materials. So you can browse through their photos, but I actually like to browse through another app, and I'll show you that in a minute. So next, below photos is elements. These are icons, they're pictures, they're grids for pictures. So as you can see, the recently used, I've used all of those. You've got featured, your Corona, of course. And then you have grids. The grids are especially helpful for pictures and positioning, and also collages. So I'm just gonna go ahead and look in here and show you the elements here. So these are all options to drop in any photos that you want. And then next, I exited out of there, we have shapes. So if you want to add shapes to your flyer or your post, you can see all, you can search through this bar. The other option is frames, which is also for photos. So if you see an element that has the background of the clouds and the green grass, that means this is specifically to plop in whatever photo you want to use, whether it's a photo of yourself or something you grabbed off the internet or a picture that you found within Canva as well. And as you can see, you can scroll down even further and you'll see charts, gradients, etc. I won't go all the way down for the sake of time, but we have next on the left navigation bar, we have the text. So this is where you can utilize the formats and fonts and combinations that Canva already has, and you can click on either of them, any of them, whichever relates to your promotional material. Or you could make your own, and you would just add a heading, subheading, a little bit of body text. I don't typically use these three, although they may be more efficient. What I do is I click into my document and type T. And when you do that, a text box appears automatically. It saves time. I have to already change the font and the size with these ones, the headings and everything. So I prefer to just do the text T. So I'm going to go ahead and click this text box and delete it. Perfect. Okay, so going down the line, we have videos. If you'd like to implement a video on your newsletter header or your Facebook post, you can do that as well. They already have videos here for you, or like I mentioned before, you can upload them here on that navigation tab of uploads. We also have backgrounds available. So if you don't want to utilize a picture, you can use a background with texture. You can utilize just colors, whatever you find is more fitting for your business. Those are the options. And then if you see on the left-hand side, again, at that navigation toolbar, we have folders right below background. And this option is more for Canva Pro, which I don't have at the moment, but for the next workshop, or for the next Canva workshop in July, we will explore Canva Pro. But the folders tab is really just the option to, let's say I designed within my flyer template something that I really liked. I liked the style and I want to change a previous flyer to that same style. Well, this is where you would do it. You would access that older template from your folders and then copy over the style. And last but not least, we have the More tab. As you can see, this is where all the apps and integrations are. I mentioned that I don't particularly use Canva for free stock photos. What I do use though, and my favorite is to use is Pixabay, which is right here under apps and integrations, right along with Pixels. Both are integrated so that you can look through free stock photos, and it's very, very helpful, and I love the variety that they give you. Before, when I did this workshop a year ago, they didn't have that option, so we were still pulling off images on Google and hoping and searching for the right licenses and hoping that we wouldn't get sued. So Canva has made it easy. They've been an exemplary brand in the sense that they listen to their customers' feedback and then they implement it right then and there. So that is it for that navigation on the left-hand side. If you can see right over here where it says animate, this white area or bar, I call it the edit bar, that will show up as you start working into your document. So once I add a picture or an element, this editorial box or toolbar will adapt to whatever element you're using. So we're gonna go ahead and go through the flyer now. Like I said, we're gonna start from scratch. So before this workshop, I went ahead and looked at, I searched on Google for flyers and layouts that I liked. I did find one, so we're gonna go ahead and upload that flyer onto this first page. So I'm gonna go to upload, and then I'm gonna go to upload an image. I'm gonna find that image within my Canva folder, desktop, whatever. Upload example flyer. I'm gonna select it and push choose. And then there it is. And you can see the download bar. Once that reaches the end, once it is complete, then I can use it. Before I go ahead and do that, I wanted to draw your attention to this page 1. You have the option to title your documents, each page within this template. You have the option to add a note or to move the document down or up, to copy page, to delete page, and to add a page. And then if you come down here on the right-hand side at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a way to adjust how big your document is. So it's at 55%, it's at fit. I can increase or decrease that as I see fits. I think I'll do 75 for now. Okay. And then it just has also a page manager here and a present full screen. Okay, so now that we know all of what these buttons do, we're gonna go ahead and transfer this flyer to the page. And I can do that by clicking on it, or I can drag it over. So I just clicked on it, and now I wanna make it as big as possible so that I can be inspired and follow step by step what this flyer has to offer. So to make it bigger, I'm gonna go ahead and hold on the corner and drag outward to make it bigger. And I'll have to reposition it. So repositioning it, all you have to do is click on the image and then drag it to where you want it to go. So I'm gonna make it as big as I can by dragging those corners out. You can also adjust the size by the sides. There we go. If I double click on the image while it's selected, I can reposition the actual picture. And so I'm gonna do that there. I can show you how to crop as well. So now that I have an element within this template, you can see that my edit bar has adapted to what I'm doing. So I can go into filter and mess with the filter. We're just creating the mood here with whatever, whatever fits your business. We can keep going to the right where you adjust the brightness and contrast. We can also go to crop. So I'm gonna actually crop all of this gray space out of the area. I can here, let's see, there we go. I'm gonna click crop again, and then I'm gonna drag this line, oops, where are you? There it is. Drag that corner in, and I'm gonna crop my picture. So I'm getting rid of all that gray space that doesn't really matter to me. There we go. So here is the template that we are working on and we're gonna recreate. Not exactly the same. We can put our own twist to it and make it unique to your business. But for the sake of this tutorial, I will just be making up a business. Let's say pastries, we'll do pastries. Okay, so here, like I said, we have layers on each of our documents. Layer 1 is the background, for me anyway. So we're gonna work on the background. As you can see, and you can refer to your picture up here, your flyer, you have a photo and then you have different shapes and elements with that photo. So what we're gonna focus on now is the photo, this element here, the shape with the wave, and then the corners. That's step 1 or layer 1, if you will. So I'm gonna go to my left side navigation bar. I'm gonna go into elements, and then I'm gonna scroll up to find grid. You can see all grids. But I just need one picture. So I'm just gonna do the basic square. I'm gonna click it, and then it's gonna appear on my document. It's the full size and I don't need that. So I'm gonna go ahead and press on the corner and drag it inward to make it smaller. And I'm gonna adjust it to where I see fit. And I believe we have like a quarter of the page left for the other information. So I'm gonna say right about there would be good. Okay, so now I have my grid. The next step is going to be to find a picture for it. So we said cupcakes, we're gonna go with cupcakes. Let's go ahead and go to more on your navigation tab on the left. Then we're gonna go to Pixabay because that's my favorite. And then I'm gonna search in the search bar cupcakes and see what it comes up with. Okay. And so as you can see, there are plenty of pictures to choose from. As you're going through the demonstration or as you're practicing to create, you can use your business, right? And utilize this tutorial that way. So like I said, I'm gonna stick with cupcakes for this webinar. And I'm gonna go ahead and drag it over since I clicked it to appear. There we go. So I have it dragged over. I know that I'm gonna put more text on the right side, so I wanna reposition this picture to show that left margin with the pink cupcake. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna double click it, and then I'm gonna drag the picture over so that left margin meets that pink rose cupcake. So it's right about there on that edge. Then I'm gonna click done. And I think that's a pretty good, yeah, that's a pretty good position there for that cupcake. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on the image again to select it, and then I'm gonna lock the image. And this is very important because when you're working with multiple layers, sometimes you have the background in a fixed position so that you can select the other layers and just manipulate those layers. What happens is if you forget to lock your first layer, then you'll be, every time you click into the document, you'll be moving this picture. So I have it locked, and you can easily unlock it just by clicking on this button up top here, unlock. And that way it's movable again. But let's go ahead and put that back. Perfect. I'm gonna lock it again. And then now we're gonna refer back, and then we're gonna take this shape right here, and we're gonna find that within our elements to add it to this picture. So I'm gonna go into elements, I'm gonna click out of grids, and then I'm gonna go to shapes and then click on see all. And then we're gonna try and find a shape that's kind of like this wave right here. And it doesn't have to be perfect or exact, just something that inspires you and goes along with the flow of your flyer. So let's go ahead and look. And of course, it takes a little bit to load here. And I actually like this one because it has multiple colors and you can play around with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, this color, or this shape. But before that, I almost forgot. So I've clicked my element and it's a gray scale, and that doesn't really match my flyer. So what I want to do is I want to utilize the colors within this photo and use the palette generator to come up with the colors that I need for this flyer. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this element first. And just to show you very quickly, I'm on a MacBook. So I'm going to screenshot this photo and then I'm going to upload it to the generator. So I'm going to click Command-Shift-4 on my MacBook. And I'm sorry, I don't know the conversion for a PC, but I can find that out for you if you haven't found out yet. So I've screenshotted it and it will save to my desktop. Okay, and so before we go into the palette generator, I'm gonna put that element, that shape back into place. I clicked on it and it appeared. I can click on the actual element and drag it in place. I want it to meet the right-hand corner, so there we go. And then I also want to meet it. I also want it to meet the bottom of the photo and make it flush. Okay, so I did drag that corner outward to make it bigger, but now it's covering too much of that cupcake. So I'm going to go ahead and click the element again, and then I'm going to move it to the right. And I'm gonna kind of gauge how much I want for room for the text. And I think that's about right. I might move it a little bit more to the right. There. Okay. So I'm actually happy with that position. I'm not gonna lock it because if I lock it, I can't edit the image just yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and open a new tab. And I'm going to search Canva palette generator, and I already have it here in the search bar. And then I'm going to click on this. Okay, so here is the tool that makes my life so much easier. I'm going to go ahead and upload that screenshot we just took. Actually, it's on desktop. And then, there we go. Okay. Oh, no, sorry. Here we go. Now it's uploading and voila. There are all the colors that I can use within my document to look like it was put together professionally. So all of these colors I will probably use to copy. All I have to do is click copy and it's copied. So that first layer of my shape, I'm gonna do this aquamarine color. I'm gonna go back to my Canva tab. And then we're gonna go to the edit bar right on top of our image, right? This dark gray is that outer layer, and I'm gonna switch the color to that aquamarine. In the toolbar, I will do Command V, which is paste, and then my color is there. And then I'm gonna move on to the next layer. I'm gonna do the Indian red one. Go back to Canva, and then exit out of that code and Command V the next color. And the same for that third color. So I think I will do the light gray for the third color. So I'm gonna click on the light gray and then I wonder if it's very similar. Oops. I think it's very similar. It's just got a little bit of a pink touch to it. So I'm gonna pick that anyway. Okay, so now I have my colors. This is perfect. I like the positioning. I don't wanna play around with these two elements anymore. I'm gonna lock it in place, but before I do that, I want them to be grouped together, these two elements. So I'm gonna click below these elements and then I'm gonna drag up, and then it will automatically, or should automatically, pick both images up, and then you can push lock. And of course, yeah, it's all locked. I cannot move these images. They're in place now. Now we're gonna work on the corners here. So I'm gonna go back to my shapes and find something to kind of beautify those corners. And I think I like this image more than this. We've already got something that's more waved, like I want to do something more cute and artsy or artisan-y. So I'm going to click on that. When I click on it, it automatically appears. I want to use the same colors within my palette. So I'm going to go back to my color palette. I'm going to click on the India red is what I would like for that to be. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that my item is selected, and then I'm gonna click onto this toolbar and Command V, and there's that color again. So I have this and I wanna use it for the corner, so I'm going to rotate it. So when you select your item, you can drag in or drag out to manipulate the size, but there's also this icon here with the arrows, the two arrows pointing in different directions. This is your rotation bar. So you can rotate it to wherever you see fits. I'm gonna do 40 to keep it simple. And then I'm gonna push, drag it down to the corner. I like that image, I like where it is, I like the position and the color, so I'm gonna duplicate it. I'm gonna select the image, Command copy, then Command C, and then Command V to paste. And now I have two. But because this is the opposite corner, I have to re-rotate it. And I believe you can go into the negatives here. There we go. Woo! Okay. There we go. Negative. Oh, interesting. I'm going to do negative 40 for the sake of time here. I can get to it. There we go. We're going to put that in place wherever you feel is the mirror image of the other corner. And then we're going to group these two elements together again. So I'm going to highlight both objects, and you can see the lines telling you that these two elements can be grouped. So we're going to go ahead and group them. That way, if I do need to reposition them, I'm repositioning both at the same time and not one at a time. So they're both grouped. Now we're going to lock the elements. That way I don't pick it up by accident and we can keep going. Okay, so this was the layer one, which is primarily the background. Do we have any questions, Barb, before we move on to layer two? Barb, are you there?
Yes, I'm sorry. I had trouble finding my unmute.
Oh,
No,
that's
we're doing well, but you have people loving this. This is great.
Wonderful. Okay. So do we have any questions? So you said no, I'm sorry. I was trying
That's right.
Okay, perfect.
We're still all learning.
Yes, exactly. And I'm hopeful that I am explaining it well enough, because I know you can't see what I'm doing here on my keyboard. So if you get confused, please ask questions in the question box. But for now, we'll move on. And we're going to do layer two. Layer two, so we're going to go back up to our flyer for reference, and then we're going to look at it. Layer two, I would say, is this logo here up at the right-hand corner. This promotional star, I don't really know what you call it, but I'll call it for my purposes, the promotional star. And then we have three other images here. But we also have this divider down here, the line, and this divider here, and then a QR code and that box. So I'm gonna do the divider here, and instead of doing another line as a divider, I'm gonna do something more circular, like a circle. So I'm gonna do a circle there. I think a circle is cuter than a line. I hope you agree with me. But if not, you can stick to the line. And then we're gonna do the outline of this QR box, or QR code, sorry. Okay, so here we go. I am on my image. Everything is locked, so I don't accidentally pick up any images I don't want to right now. We're gonna start with the logo. And typically, if you already have a logo, you can upload it here in Uploads so that you can transfer the image to your document. But for the purpose of this workshop, I created a logo, and so I'm just gonna use that. I'm gonna pull it up here and place it somewhere around that right-hand corner. And not too close to the edge because I don't want it to go off the paper. But I think I'm okay with that positioning there. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock it. I selected the logo and I'm gonna go ahead and lock it now with my edit bar on top. And now you can see that it's locked. It's got that icon there. Okay, and now we need the background for the logo so it can pop a little bit more. We're gonna go back to elements and then we're gonna peruse the shapes to find something similar. And I think I need something maybe a little simpler than and more fluid than what that first one has. I like this to be at the background, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. As I said before, to resize, you can hold on the corner and drag up, and you can resize it that way. If you wanna adjust the sides too, you can. Rotation right there. I obviously will not be using this color, but I'm gonna put it into position first before I manipulate the color. So I think that is good. I can't tell if my logo is centered just yet. So we're gonna go into our edit bar at the top, and then we're gonna push position. And then we're gonna select backward, not to the back, because that would bring it all the way to the back of the layers. So I'm just gonna do backward once, and it should be good. And it looks like my logo is actually centered there as well. So I'm gonna leave that, and then I'm just going to change the color. So I'm gonna go back to my color palette generator. I'm gonna pick the color that I want. I seem to like this Indian red the best. And then I'm gonna go to the color option and Command V to paste that color code in and change it. Okay, so I've changed the color, and I think I'm pretty satisfied with this logo here at the top. It's very similar to what we have here, just a different shape. And you know what? It matches better with what I'm doing anyway. So I'm gonna lock that in place, and then we're gonna focus on making this star. So I'm gonna go back to my elements on the navigation side on the left. And I'm gonna look for something similar to that promotional star, not an actual star, but something a little closer. I don't know if I will find it down or up. I'm gonna start from the top. All right, I think this is close enough. This works perfect for me. I'm gonna go ahead and click on it to have it in my flyer and adjust resize by holding down that corner and dragging inward to the size that I need it to be. And I think that's a good size. So I'm gonna drag it over to the position that I want. And I think right about there is where I want it. And you can use these grid lines to help you position. They are super, super helpful. I'm gonna go back to my color palette, and I'm going to pick the darker Indian red color. I'm gonna click on it to copy the code, go back to my Canva, open the color adjustments, and Command V the color code in, voila. So now I've changed the color there. Okay, if we go back to see the flyer, you can see there are 2 layers there. There's a white border and then the orange color inside. So to do that in Canva, unfortunately, they don't have every shape complete with a shadow. So we're just gonna duplicate this shape. So I'm gonna click on the shape, make sure it's selected, copy, so Command C, and then Command V to paste that same image. I am going to manipulate the color first, or adjust the color first before I move it so that I can see where it's at. Back to the color generator, dark khaki is where it's at. And then we're gonna go back to the color toolbar or edit bar and paste that in there. So now we have 2 layers. Now I'm gonna drag this over, and obviously you can't see those layers just yet. So I'm going to resize the object and pull that corner inward, and then drag to the particular position that I like. And I think that's pretty even all around. So I'm gonna go ahead and highlight that again. What I do is I click underneath, and then I drag my mouse over the 2 elements, and you can see there are 2 squares. That means both elements are selected. I'm gonna group those elements here at the edit bar on top, click group, and then I'm gonna lock it. And we're done there. Okay. Next, we have these 3 pictures, right? So the best way to do those 3 pictures with the border and everything that it has is to go to the elements, click out of shapes, and go into frames. Or I could search circle frames. So I'm gonna do that. Save some time here. Oops. Actually, sorry, common error. You have to go into frames first and then click and search circle frames. So it pulls it up on top, or not. It just made a liar out of me. All right, we'll do it the old-fashioned way. Go into frames, see all, and then we can find a circular one that has a border around it. And here it is. Wasn't too bad. All right, so here it is on my document. We're going to resize. We're gonna drag that corner inward to get it to the particular size we want. I think right about there is a good size. And then I'm gonna get it in, I'm gonna format it to the color that I like before I duplicate it, because I have 3 pictures. So before I do that, I'm going back to the palette generator, and I'm gonna use probably this dark khaki. Let's try that. Dark khaki as the border for my frame. We're gonna go into the edit bar with the color, click on the color, and then we're gonna Command V, copy and paste the code there. So now I have a border that matches my flyer. I'm gonna drag it down into position, and I'm noticing that it's a little big because I have to fit 3 in there. So I'm gonna make it smaller. I'm gonna drag the corners inward, make it a little bit smaller, and reposition it. Use the grids to help you. Okay, and I think I'm satisfied with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy it and paste it twice. Command C, Command V, and again. So I have 3 now. And thankfully, Canva did make all of these grid lines to help you align your objects and your text. And I would like to first, I would recommend centering the middle one first and then adjusting the sides. There's another way to do that if you don't want to do it manually. I mean, you can use your mouse to drag it across, or you can use your arrow keys. There's also on the edit bar a position where you can and you can adjust to the left or to the right. But using that mechanism, it put my image all the way to the left, and I don't want it to be off the picture. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it to right about there myself. And I'm just eyeballing it right now, but I feel like that is very, very close. I'm gonna move the right one just a little bit more. One more. It's easier when you have a mouse there. Okay, right about there. Okay, so I have my 3 picture frames, if you will. I'm gonna go back to Pixabay because that's my favorite. If you prefer, you can try Pixels too. It's not gonna bite you. So here we are. I wanna find 3 different images of different cupcakes, just for simplicity. Let's see here. The purple is nice. We can try the purple and see how that fits in. It's not really part of the color scheme, so I think I'm gonna go with something else. Let's try this blue one up here. I do like how that looks, so I'm gonna go ahead and double click it to open the picture and reposition. So I double click the image and then I drag it to the center there, and look at that. You have those grids to help you as well, which is wonderful. Okay, so I have that image. I'm gonna add another one, and just to make it easy, let's go ahead and do this. So I can click on it and then it'll appear on my document, and then I can drag it over and then it'll be in the frame. So now I just need to double click it to reposition it into the middle, use those grid lines again. And then one more photo. I'll just do this one for now. Let's see here. Drag it in. And this one, because it's a vertical photo, I can't really adjust it to the left. So I'm okay with this. I'm gonna leave that. And I think I'm happy with what we have so far. So again, I'm going to group these 3 frames together by clicking and holding and dragging up. There we go. So you can see they're all highlighted. I'm gonna click group on the edit bar, and then I'm gonna click lock so that I don't accidentally catch it. So we have that locked into position. We're gonna go ahead and finish up with the divider here, and then the background, or sorry, the border. Oh, excuse me. Okay. So we're gonna exit out of cupcakes. Oh man. And then we're gonna go back to elements, and I'm gonna exit frames, and I'm gonna search for a line. And I just need a simple line. This is just primarily for my business information. I'm gonna switch it and adjust the size by dragging it in the corners inward. And I think that's just about long enough. Okay, and then I'm gonna drag it down. I'm gonna use the grid lines again to help me center it. I'm gonna put it right on the line there. And probably right about there. Okay. So it's in the place that I want it. Now I'm gonna fix the color. I don't want it to be this ugly yellow. So I'm gonna go back to my color palette generator. And I think I'm gonna try this light gray. I particularly like to just use a simple, like a shade of black or gray for business information like this, but we'll see what this color looks like. So go into that edit color and search bar, Command V, and there it is. So let's see what that looks like. I think I'm okay with that. It's close enough to gray. I'm not gonna lock it because I'm gonna duplicate it. If we go back up to the original, you can see that there's a divider and business information on the left and right. So before I duplicate these elements to the right, I wanna have all of my fonts be consistent and ready to go. So we're just gonna do that one side for now. So I have that, and I believe I mentioned, I'm not gonna do this rigid straight line here. I'm going to use a circle instead. So shapes, from elements, you go to shapes, circle, and there's that awful yellow again. I'm gonna drag the corner inward to make it as itty bitty 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 as possible. And then I'm gonna drag it down all the way to the spot where I want it. And you know, if that circle doesn't work for you, you can use the line. There's no problem with that. Okay, so I have that circle there. I don't know if it gets smaller. Oh yes, yes it does, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna reposition it right in the middle there, use the grid lines to help you. And then I'm going to change the color. I think I want to do the Indian red again. So I'm going to go back to my generator, copy, go back to Canva, go to the color editor, and there we go, paste the color code. Okay, so I'm happy with how that looks. We're gonna move on to the square. I'm not gonna lock it because like I said, I'm going to duplicate it a little bit later in that third layer. Let's go ahead and do the border for the QR code. We're gonna go to shapes and just do square, or maybe it already popped up, but there it is. And look at that, Canva's trying to help me. It came out with my color, which is great, so that I don't have to change it. I'm gonna keep it that color. I'm gonna move it down to the center. I believe that's the center there, whoops. Steady hands is the trick here. There we go. And a little bit up. There we go. That's
Stacy, I have a question for you as soon as you are done with this.
Okay. Let me just lock this in place, and then this wraps up layer 2. So that's perfect timing. So it's already selected. That square is already selected. I'm going to go ahead and lock it. Go up to the edit bar, and then click lock. And there you go. All right, I'm ready for you, Barb.
Okay, Elena wants to know, Elena's had great questions and great comments. She wants to know if there's any way to more easily access the colors you have already used. Seems like a lot of clicks to go back to your color generator each time.
It does, and I find that I have a hard time with that as well. Just because I'm used to doing it this way doesn't mean it's the best way. I did create a handout for that for your specific campaigns where you can write down or write down the code of the color for each color that you have, and the font and the text size, all that information in that handout. So it's a Word document, and you can use it on your computer just as is, which is why I did Word instead of PDF. The other option is to get Canva Pro, and I know Canva Pro, you're allowed to save, I believe, as many colors as you'd like on your palette. And so when you do that, let's just see, for example, if I click on this element here, I gotta unlock it first. Click on that element, go into the colors options, and then you see here it says Fisher Kidco palette. But then it also has the Pro icon here. So I had Pro for a while, and it saved my color palette for that particular brand. But if I wanted to save any more than that, I would have to get Canva Pro again. Sometimes, and I think this is a new feature here, this document color. It gives you this document color option, and it'll save it as you go, but I haven't felt like that was consistent just yet. I will research that question and see if there's another way around it, and then implement that into the second Canva. But otherwise, those are the two options I have right now.
So then she just asked, isn't document colors the same answer to my question, or the answer to my question?
Is the what?
The document colors.
Is the document colors the same?
The answer to her question.
Oh, I believe so. But
Yes.
like I said, I sometimes it does this, and I've noticed that sometimes when I'm looking for it, it's not there. So I'm sure Canva will make that more consistent as we go.
Okay, and then I have one more question for you. This one's from Brian. He's been very patient.
Oh, wonderful.
And Brian said, how did you get the color palette again?
Okay, so Brian, there's two ways to do that. The first way is I just Google it, and you just do Canva color palette generator, or you can actually access it right on Canva. So I'll show you that quickly. If we go back to home, it's already saved my document, what we've been working on. I'm gonna go back to home, and then I'm gonna go to learn. And then I'm gonna go all the way down, scroll down to resources, and there's the palette generator. Now, that last portion, those Canva tips that I have, the tips and tricks for you, something that was newly implemented with the knowledge that I have is that they do have a quicker option for that, and that's if you go through to more, and you go through to styles. But these will give you just the trending colors and palettes to use, not particular to your picture. And then they also have trending fonts. So it can be a quicker way, but if you have a different colored photo, I would just go with the color generator.
Okay, thank you. So did you want to take a break? Would people like to chime in the chat box and let us know if they want to take a 5-minute break or if they want to just keep going?
Actually, Barb, I have to run to the ladies' room. So
okay, 5 minutes it is.
Let's do the 5 minutes. What time is it now? It's 1:10. So at 1:15, we'll start right back up and finish that layer.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have you on board?
I am ready to go.
Perfect.
Have the recording started.
Awesome. Okay, so before we go on to our last layer, I do have to, here we go. Okay, before we go on to our last layer, I want to go refer back up to the template that we have. It looks like we're pretty much there. I did miss an icon here that I want to add before we go on to layer 3, which is all text, and then the QR code. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go back to my left-hand side navigation bar. I'm going to look for my icon. I'm just going to say phone icon, and I've searched for it before. It's a handy icon. Obviously, they are going to give you the Canva Pro options up front because they're better, but we're going to go ahead and use the most basic free one for now. So I've got that phone right there. Actually, let's see if there's let me see if I have another option. This one's actually pretty cool. I like that one better. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to click this icon. I am going to drag the corner inward to decrease the size. And then I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to rotate it using this little circular icon here with the arrows. I'm going to rotate it to probably about, oops, maybe 40 degrees. Let's do something with 40. Yikes. I'll settle for 50, that's fine. And then I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, dragging inward again. And then I'm going to drag it into position where I want it. So right about there. And it looks like this icon doesn't change color at all, which is okay. I will use the background color for that. And then I want to put a circle around it. So actually, if we go back to our flyer up here and refer to the positioning there, it's a little bit more towards the pictures. So I'm going to bring it down just a little bit more, probably right about there. Yeah, right about there is fine. And I'm gonna make it a little tiny bit smaller. I'm gonna lock it so that it doesn't move now that I've found a position. Excuse me. I'm gonna go back to elements and I'm going to search circle. And there it is. I just need the border and it came out to be the color that I wanted it to be. Awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the size and bring it down. I think we need to make the circle a little bit bigger. So I'm grabbing the corner and dragging it outward to make it bigger. And then I'm gonna move it into position. I think that's about right. It's kind of big. Let's see here. This is where a mouse comes in handy. There we go. Let's try that. No, it's overlapping. So I'm gonna unlock to make it even smaller. Unlock the icon, make it a little teensy bit smaller. There we go. And then lock it again, drag the circle up, and lock that circle. That way it won't move. So we've got that element in. Excuse me. We can we'll save the QR code for after the text. So now we're going to move on to the third layer, and that's just implementing the text. We'll go back and refer. We have only $5 here. We have the heading where the title here, fried chicken, and then the phone number, a descriptor, and then some business information. So let's start with the star, promotion star. And like I said, to access text, you can go to the navigation bar on the left and click text, or you can click anywhere in the document and type T. So there's my text box there. I'm gonna go ahead and put type only $5. So only, and then enter, and $5. Perfect. So I have that. And as you can see, our edit bar did change again. And we are going to keep, I think we're going to keep this font. I like it. Actually, let's change it. Let's do this one, Nikon, I think is how it's pronounced. We're going to do that. And then right on the right side of the fonts option is the size option. For the size, we'll do 32. Oh, actually, you know what? I want to do these two text different sizes. So in order to do that, I'm gonna select the first text. I want only to be a little bit smaller than the $5. So let's do 32 for only. And then for $5, we'll do 72. We'll increase it, there we go. Perfect. Now, if you notice, in this text box, there's a huge gap between only and 5, and it looks super awkward. So we're going to change that. We already changed the font up here on your tool, your edit bar. We have the font size. It's not showing up because there's 2 sizes, so that's normal. The font color, which we will change. Let's go ahead and do that now. Let's change that to this white color. And then we will keep going. So you can bold it if you'd like. Italicize, underline, and this is an alignment button if you want it to be in the center, adjusted left, adjusted right, or paragraph, adjusted as a paragraph. You also have the option to do all uppercase, so if you click on that, it'll make the whole thing uppercase, but I don't want that, so I'm not going to do that. This option here with the list is for bulleting, and here's where I wanted to actually navigate to the spacing of your text. So we want to adjust not the lettering space, but the line height. And you can see here in the drop down, there's the line height. We can adjust it to what looks best. And I've got to fit it in that little promotional star. So I'm going to try that. I think that's okay right there. And I'm going to view this a little bit bigger. There we go. I'm at 75% now viewing. So I'm going to drag that into this promotional star. Sorry, let's see. Where's that sweet spot here? I just had it. Come on. Oh, it's not going to do it for me, but that's fine. Okay. So we've adjusted that. I like the positioning. I'm gonna try a different font just because it's not what I want it to be. There we go. That is what I wanted it to be, Nikon. And the $5 one is also Nikon. So when I selected it originally, I only selected the $5, which explains it. Okay, so we have our text, and I like the way it came out. I like the color and the font size. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate it, because if you go back to the original, you will see that it's got a white outline in it. So the only way to do that in Canva is to copy it. So Command C, Command V. Did that come out? Let's see here. Did I do it too fast? Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to click on the text box, select it, Command C, Command V, and there we go. Okay, so this second layer, I actually want to be similar to what we have up here, which is red. We could do red and black. I think I'm just gonna stick with red. So if I go to new color, I can find whatever color I want to on the scale. So I think I would like to do a deeper red like that. That color looks good to me, so we're gonna do that. Okay, so we have the color. Now we wanna overlay this text. Before I do that, I'm going to drag the text box down and lock this into place so that I don't accidentally catch that. And then I'm gonna drag this up. There we go. And you can overlay it as much as you like. I just got lucky and was able to do it just like that. So I'm gonna lock that in place. And then we're gonna move on to the title. So fried chicken, mine's obviously not fried chicken. I'm gonna click or type T for the text box to appear. Oops. And somehow there's a delay. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay, so I have my text box. I'm gonna label mine, for the sake of simplicity, cupcakes. And we're gonna do that. We are gonna drag this all the way into position, and then we're gonna edit it on our edit bar. I would like to stick with Nikon, and then I'm going to manipulate the size. And I want it to be big, so let's try 64. I want it a little bit smaller than that. And so if you have a size in mind and it's not actually giving you that ability to select it, you can actually type right in here. So I'm gonna try 62, and that's better. Okay, I'm going to then go to the colors and change the colors. And look at that, we've got our document colors up here, which is awesome. I've changed the color, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to spacing and adjust the line height here. I don't want the text to touch, so just about there is fine. I'm gonna grab this text box, and you'll see the 4 arrows indicating that you have grabbed the text box, and then just move accordingly. So let's see here. I feel like we could move this down just a little bit. So I have that icon here. I'm gonna unlock it so I can move it. There we go. And that one's locked as well. So this is why we want to group the objects together so you don't have to do it one by one. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it around here. Probably up right there is fine for me. There we go. Let's see if it'll let me group it now. Okay. Whoops. There we go. Let's see. Okay, so I do have that option to group. I'm gonna group it so I can move them together. Put it right there, and then lock it in place. Okay, now I'm gonna click or type T again to put the phone number. So obviously I won't be putting a real phone number, but there you go. I'm going to use the same font. So I do need to change that through the toolbar there, the edit toolbar. I do want it to be a bit bigger than that. So let's see here. I think maybe, let's try 21. Ah, that's not that big. Let's try, you don't want it to be as big as the title. So let's try 24. Okay. How about 32? 32 is good. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there. And again, this little icon is actually not where I want it to be, so I'm gonna unlock it and move it again. A lot of adjustments here, but that's okay. So we'll make sure this is in alignment. Yeah, perfect. And I'm gonna change the color before we go ahead and lock that text box. I'm gonna change it to white. There we go, I like that, that's fine with me. Okay, and then because this icon is already locked, it will not allow me to group these 2 items. I'm just gonna click on the phone number and lock the phone number on its own. So that's locked in place. What we have left is our descriptor. So typing in the letter T again. And then I have a little description here. Let's say cupcakes for any occasion. Delivered fresh and delivered fresh and straight to your door. Delivered straight to your door. Okay, just making it up as I go along, but obviously you want to be more intentional about the descriptor that you have there. We're going to go ahead and move the text box by dragging. And then as you can see, the text is aligned in the middle there. That would be to the left. I like the paragraph option, and that's probably because I'm a type A personality. But I'm gonna go ahead and use that. You can use the middle one, that looked good as well, but for the sake of this flyer, I will use that. And then we're gonna go ahead, once you're happy with your text box, you're gonna go ahead and lock it in place so that you don't accidentally grab it while you're hovering through. And then let's see. I mean, all we have left is the business logistics and the QR code. So let's go ahead and finish this up real quick here. Again, we're gonna type T for the text box. And then I'm going to put free delivery. And what else can I add? Free delivery. Oops, keeps wanting to do a period. No lines. So whatever you want to put down here, it's your choice. I just drag it over to where I want it to be. Let's see here. There we go. And then space it out until it fits. So we'll play around with that. I actually will, instead of doing that, make sure there's enough space for that circle, which I'm going to grab in just a minute. And this is why I haven't duplicated this just yet, because I wanted it to be, I wanted it to match. So let's see, here we go. We'll make the line as long as the text, so drag out to make it bigger. And then I'm going to use my arrows to put it in place. And then I'm going to actually move this for a second and grab this dot. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to align the text with the line that we've created there and grab this dot, move it to the middle. There we go. Oops. Sometimes if you need to move it just slightly, and see, this is why you lock it in place. You want to lock your text in place first. Once you find a position, there we go, find a position. We're gonna lock the text in place so that I can grab this dot. In theory, it'll let me grab the dot. There we go. Oh, technical difficulties. You can't have a webinar without one, right? Okay, so let's try this again. I'm gonna bring that out, bring this in, and then drop this down. Okay, and if I have to make the line bigger, that's also okay. So there we go. All right, move it just a little bit, and once you're happy with it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create another text box for the bottom, address. We're gonna type T and put your address. Let's do a fresh circle. I'm gonna put it underneath and align it as such, and then we're good. So see, That took a little bit more effort to align all of the elements, and I haven't locked any in place just because we have to do the exact same thing on the other side. So now that I've gotten it to where I enjoy and like it and think it's good for this flyer, I'm gonna select just that. So I clicked just below all of the elements, and then I dragged my mouse over all of the elements. So I'm gonna group it, and hopefully that I grouped the right one. Now that I've grouped it, I'm going to hit Command C and then Command V, and then it places it again. So all I have to do now is align it, there we go. And then fix whatever I want to say here. So I'll just put birthdays and weddings. Highlighting no lines and just put weddings here. Okay, so I'm gonna ungroup it and then move this accordingly. There we go. So I'm happy with the positioning. Obviously, we can work on it and make it perfect, but for the sake of time, I'm good. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock this image here so that it doesn't move anymore on me. And then I'm gonna go ahead and select these elements here, group it, and then lock it as well. So last but not least is the QR code. If you want to make it easy for your customers to find your website and order right on cue, then let's go ahead and add that QR code. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to More on your navigation toolbar on the left, and then you're gonna go down to QR code. And it's as easy as grabbing a URL and generating a code. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to use the Canva palette generator, but what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna take them to somewhere particular. So for me, it would be, in the case of this bakery, it would be my website or the delivery app. So there we go. Click generate, your code will come up, and then we obviously have to adjust the size, so grab the corner and drag inward, and we want it to fit within that border there. Maybe make it a little bit bigger there. Ooh, there we go. I'm gonna use my key, my arrow keys to put it in the center there. And I like that. So we're going to go ahead and click on it, make sure it's selected, and I'm gonna lock it. Okay, so this is what we've come up with. You know, right off the bat, what I would say is that I enjoy the texture that it has right here in this shape, this wave-like shape. So I'm gonna actually adjust this block right here. I'm gonna unlock it. I'm gonna select the block, unlock it, and then I'm gonna go to transparency. I'm gonna actually adjust the transparency so that you can see some of the image. It gives it a little bit of texture, and I enjoy it more like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. We've got it at 88, maybe one more, 89. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna lock it. And then I'm gonna do the same for the background for the logo. I'm gonna unlock the image, and then I'm gonna play around with the transparency just a little bit. There we go. I think I like that. Whoops. Don't forget to lock it again, and voila. So there's your cupcake flyer from scratch. Do we have any questions before I go to the overview of tips that we've used and some tips that we haven't, Barb?
I don't see any new ones. You're covering the questions that have come up, but if anybody has any, please type them in the chat box.
Okay, great. Thank you, Barb. Okay, so the last part of this webinar is basically going over the tips and tricks to use on Canva. And some of these I have just learned, and that's why I'm super passionate about using them in the demo and then reiterating them after the demo. So tip number 1 is group your elements for easy moving. So for example, you can see on the left side, I have 2 elements here. I have a background and then I have a white text. These 2 elements are not grouped. So if I wanted to move both the background and the text, I'd have to move them separately unless they are grouped. So these are not grouped, they will move individually, and it kind of becomes a pain when you're working with lots of layers. So as an example, I have this background on the right-hand side grouped with the text. So the 2 elements are grouped together, and it's just easier to maneuver this way. Right? I don't want to be moving the text and or the background and then the text and then the background. So grouping your objects, I can't tell you how much it has saved me time. The next tip I have here for you is to lock your elements. And we did this as well in the demo, because if you don't lock your elements and you use more than 2 or 3 layers, especially when you're trying to get that shadow or the light for your text, it just makes it hard to select. So for example, the example on the left is locked. The background is locked, but the text is not. So I can easily move these 2. And so I have, let me reiterate this. I have a background that is locked, and I have 2 text box going on here for that effect with the text. And I want to move both text boxes. So what I can do is I can select below and drag my mouse up. And then you can see the blue box. It's selected both of those layers. So when you have that background locked, you can select and group a lot easier. So now I have them, they're not grouped, but they're both selected and I can move them, or I can group them and then move them. When you don't lock the background, look what happens. I'm gonna try and just select the text, the two layers of text, and it's picking up the box as well, the background. And so that makes you move the whole thing. So locking and grouping your images are just gonna save you a ton of time, and it's less hassle. Tip number 3, whoops. I've actually played around with this before I used it, but let's go ahead, I'll show you 1 second. I'm gonna look up plants. Tip number 3 is about copying or using the quick tool to copy the style of something. So let's get rid of this plant on the left. I'm gonna insert this plant on the right, or I'm sorry, on the left here. And I love the colors that this plant has. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the quick tool, and just give me 1 second here. My MacBook is actually about to die. 1 second. Plug it in so I don't lose you guys. No. Sorry about that. I was hopeful that it would last the whole entire time. Okay, so I have this plant on the left that I just inserted. I want to copy the style and the colors quickly. So there's this really, really cool option. If you go up to your edit bar, you'll see position, and then you'll see this paint roller. This is copy style. So you have the image that you want to copy selected, and then you click on the paint roller, it'll copy the style, and then you click on the plant you want it to style. And so now you have that same style, and you can do it with the same, or you can do it vice versa. It's a really cool option. Okay, so tip number 4, we talked about this earlier on with the question of colors and fonts and styles. You can go, you use the styles tab by going to your navigation panel on the left, click more, and then click styles. Sorry, I think it might have already put it on my tab. So because I already clicked styles before I told you what I was doing, it automatically put the styles on top of the navigation bar. So I'm going to click on styles. I'm going to select within the document, and then I can change this by clicking on the different styles and the colors. So that's going to change the colors. It's going to change the font. You also have the option to just do the colors or just do the fonts. So that's a quick way to do it. But I always go back to Canva generator. Tip number 5 is to save your social media posts and or email marketing headers as a screenshot for better quality. So Canva is set up to download your posts or share your posts directly to Facebook or the other options as well, Instagram and whatnot. So for example, if I choose here, because this is a presentation, I can choose to download it as a PDF. But what my tip is, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of convoluting it here, is that when you are creating social media posts, the size and dimension is based off of pixels. And so the only way that you can upload or download, which is this button right here on the right-hand corner, the only way you can download those social media posts is by PNG or JPG, sorry, JPEG. And when you do that, it actually gives you a very blurry vision. And if you wanted to implement that photo into a Word document, let's just say a Word document, you wouldn't be able to size it big enough for the actual document. So let me just show you, since I've convoluted the whole thing. So let's say here, we'll go to, let's just go to a social media post. And let's do Facebook post. And I'm just gonna pick this for fun, right? Okay, so I have my Facebook post. I wanna upload it. You have the option here now to publish straight to Facebook, and that's if you link the accounts. I do not have my accounts linked, and for the purpose of what I'm trying to show you, I'm going to download it onto my computer. So as you can see, this download button here with the arrow pointing downward, my only option is to save it as PNG, JPEG. I could do PDF, but then I wouldn't be able to integrate it into a Word document. So I'm gonna do PNG, and I'm gonna click download. And I'm gonna save design. I'll just put Canva test. Okay, so now if you can see, the screen has just picked up what I downloaded. And if you look closely, the image is more pixelated than what I would want it to be. But if I go back, I can always screenshot it and it will, so Command Shift 4 and screenshot it and have it saved that way, and I can adjust better. And for some reason, this didn't actually demonstrate exactly what I wanted it to show you. And I think it was more for the email headers, but that's okay. I can show you what I have saved here. So if I go, oops, there we go. If I go to my Canva folder here, I have bold branding and design JPEG, and this was a template of an email header. And so it's specifically for like constant contact and things like that. And so if I make this image bigger and I want to put it in my document, my Word document, it gets pixelated when I make it larger. And so that was the the JPEG, and then the ping is also the same. It's very pixelated. It's not something that you can just plop into your Word document if you're making handouts for a workshop, like the ones that you have in front of you. So my screenshot, here's the difference. There's the screenshot. It's clear. I can manipulate it. I can make it bigger, and it looks great. It doesn't look pixelated. So that was the purpose of that that tip. And I'm sorry, that kind of went the wrong way. So let's go back. Just to sum that up, you can always screenshot your template if you need to make it bigger and put it into a Word document or a PDF or what have you. Tip number 6 is to be consistent across all platforms. So we did just create this flyer. We also have a Facebook post here and a newsletter header. It's great when you have consistent branding. That doesn't mean you don't have any flexibility, so feel free to use colors and just a little bit more for those holidays, because you want to highlight the holidays. And you can do that as pictured in this middle Facebook post here. You can be consistent and also have flexibility to enjoy the holidays as a business. And last but not least, tip number 7 is just to utilize the WBC for free consultations. If you have any questions or want to go more in depth with Canva with me, or Constant Contact, or if you have any general business questions, brand awareness, promotions, lean processes, anything that you have questions for and want to learn more about, please reach out to me or Barb, and we will be happy to schedule a free consultation. But that sums it up. So thank you so much. Yeah.
We do have a question.
Okay.
Ellen wants to know, she said in your example, you had the original poster in layer 1, layer 2 was your cupcakes, and then there was a blank layer 3. If you just want to use layer 2, do you delete the other layers?
Okay, I'm not sure I'm following. Let me go back. Are we talking about my example that I had?
So you had 3 layers in your poster.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just want to use layer 2, do you delete the other layers?
Just layer 2. So layer 2 was just the, layer 2 was the elements that we used. So the star and the pictures. So if you wanted to delete the background, here I'm on my demo again. If you want to delete the background, just unlock the images behind it. And actually, before I do that, I'll duplicate it. That way I have a copy of the original. So I've unlocked the background, and I'm gonna unlock this shape as well. And then I can just delete it from there. So I'm gonna select that and delete it, and then select the other background and delete that as well. So that's what I'm coming up with. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
So I'll wait for her to type it in.
Okay.
So Janet wants to know your contact info.
Okay, great.
So I will go ahead and share my screen.
Okay, great.
So that is the contact info. She works out of the San Luis Obispo office, but if you're in Kern, you can contact the Kern office and they can help you as well.
Barb, just real quickly, if you have the handouts that we've provided for you, it has my email information, so you can contact me directly, or you can go through Barb as well, and she can set up an appointment with me and whoever would like to meet.
Yeah. Okay, great. So thank you, Stacy. Thanks for doing that so much. I learned so much about layering, grouping, locking, and unlocking. I have a strong urge for cupcakes right now. I'm sure I'm not alone in that.
Unfortunately, I don't have my own cupcake business, but I figured it would be a fun way to start something from scratch.
So Stacy's presenting Canva Part 2 next month on the 21st. We also have a webinar this Friday on Google My Business. Then on July 15th, we have Instagram Part 2. And then on the 29th, we have Nailing Your Elevator Pitch. We have a lot lined up for you guys. You can visit our website to register. If you need free one-on-one counseling, just give me a call and we can get you connected up with that. We look forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.